Sharks. My name's Mike LaMagna.
I'm Lauren LaMagna, and we're salty siblings from New England.
We're here seeking a $375,000 investment for 15% of our business, the Long Wharf Supply Company.
It's no secret that ocean plastics are one of the biggest environmental challenges of our generation.
Additionally, millions of pounds of oyster shells are discarded every year and end up in landfills, eventually turning toxic over time while contributing to global waste.
And that's why we're turning waste into wool.
We created the first fisherman sweaters made from a soft blend of recycled oyster shells, recycled water bottles, and natural lamb's wool. Each sweater sold reseeds up to 30 oysters. To date, we've reseeded over 70,000 oysters, which naturally filter 3.5 million gallons of seawater in our local waterways every day.
Wow. By creating high quality and timeless garments that promote the use of recycled materials and that directly support reseeding coastal oyster reefs, we hope to reduce waste and clean up our inshore waterways for the next generation.
So, Sharks, now that we've got a hook in the water, who's ready to take the bait?
So, I didn't know much about oysters until I was watching some video talking about that's how, like, one of the ways they want to try to counter the rising sea levels is you building up oyster barriers. Apparently, like in the Northeast, apparently that's the equivalent to our coral. And thanks to overfishing in the early 1900s in New York, where now it'd be like you get the hot dog or the sausage at the cart. It used to be oysters back in like the early 1900s, and they overfarmed it, overfished it, and or oystered it, I guess. And now it's one of the things. So they're trying to like plant like concrete barriers in to the ocean and then basically get oysters to grow there so that like sea life can return to said area. And it's a big thing where like they could create these natural walls, sea walls, to help kind of lower the rising ocean levels. So I think this sounds awesome. I mean it's a little pricey there at $375,000 for 15%, but let's see what the rest of the model is. And at the end, we're going to check out their website and social media, so make sure you stick around for that. And we're going to feature one of your comments from down below at the very end of the video, so stay tuned for that.
This is a really nice sweater.
Thank you.
It is really nice. Super
I
soft.
like how he smells
it
it.
really feels
It's gonna
nice.
smell like oysters.
It's got like a good weight, but also like something you'd want to put on. What's the percentage of the lamb's wool to the recycled?
It's 10% lamb's wool and 50% of our recycled material.
Really?
50%.
Wow.
The other 40% is 20% nylon and 20% plant-based viscose.
So for those who don't know, one oyster filters how much water a day?
I'm glad you asked. People are floored to learn that 50 gallons of seawater per day are filtered by each oyster. I filmed a little experiment for you so you can see it with your own eyes. We filled 2 tanks with mucky seawater, placed 60 oysters in the tanks. If you'll notice by the end here, the tank on the right gets pretty clear. People are blown
What was
away.
that period of time?
For 2 hours. We put them in the
2
tank.
hours?
Wow.
It takes you 2 hours to clean that much?
For that time lapse,
yeah.
yes.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Very
So what's your backstory?
Yeah, absolutely. After graduating, I moved back to Boston initially to work for one of the most successful e-commerce companies, Wayfair.
And I interned in New York City working for an entrepreneur who had co-founded fashion label Tory Burch, was hired as an associate. It was my dream job. Unfortunately, I got caught up in layoffs. And I just did what I knew how to do best. Go back and jump on lobster boats. And during those years, I looked around and I was floored at how much plastic and waste we'd pull out of the ocean. So I started thinking about launching my own business. So Long Wharf originally started at the end of 2016 with a handful of wax canvas and leather goods. We actually launched the sweater collection last year, 12 months ago.
So what do these things sell for? What are your margins?
So we have just under an 80% gross average margin. They cost us $23.50 to $33.50 to make, and we sell them for $128 to $158.
Have you figured out your customer acquisition cost yet?
We have. Right now, we can acquire customers for $41.
That's expensive. $41.
Give me the last 3 years in sales.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about our pandemic pivot because it was a big
It's
part of our
never
story.
good when someone asks you how much you're selling and we get another story.
In the last 12 months, we've sold $495,000.
And is it just the two of you running the company? Like, tell me, how is this operation being run?
Well, before they get there, okay, so we've seen, I mean, so many companies have done the pandemic pivot. in one episode, or in the last episode actually, with Pasco, that was a pivot that almost, it was like basically a whole new brand. And I wonder if that kind of might play a part in here, where you think you're going into like, okay, we need to like pivot to do something so that we can still maintain sales, and ultimately you end up creating a whole new business that has a whole different target market. But congratulations, I mean, 495,000 in sales in 1 year is nothing to sneeze at when you're just coming out of the gate. I mean, so many businesses don't have that, and to work with an 80% margin, like that's impressive. Now with that said, they're selling these $23 sweatshirts or sweaters for $128. But when you factor in what they're contributing to the environment around them, and the fact that it is a specialty item, I don't know. It is pricey, but I'm wondering if they are going to plan on selling outside of online to direct to Target wouldn't carry it, but like a higher end clothing store.
It's the two of us. I mean, it's bootstraps, nose to the grindstone, pounding down
You're
doors.
doing everything, though.
Mike likes to tell stories, doesn't he? Mike's the storyteller, right?
He's Italian, I'm Italian. If we're not talking, we don't know what to do. But it's very much an all hands on deck
Guilty.
kind of effort.
And are you 50-50 partners?
No, right now I own 100% of the company.
You
Michael.
do.
Wow.
He
And what
does.
about Lauren?
I still have a full-time job, and I'm working on Long Wharf mornings, nights, and weekends right now.
Well, why doesn't Lauren have a percentage?
Yeah, why doesn't Lauren have a
I mean,
percentage?
There's a couple negotiations we can do in this room today.
Hey, who's the shark?
Hey, hang on, Mike. Just give me 1 second here. 375,000, 50%, $2.5 million valuation, 495,000 in sales. They get the oyster story. That's really great, but it's a sweater business, okay? You're worth sort of one-time sales. 375,000. I'd need to have like 75% of it.
We appreciate the offer, but that
I haven't said
that was great comeback, Mike. No, I don't disagree with them. I'm really surprised that he hasn't given a percentage to Lauren, as I mean, she's out there with him. She's it's just the two of them doing it, mind you. So to me, she deserves some form of partnership there, whether it's 10%, 30%, 20%, 50%, 49%, something. But I do think that they should be able to work that out, because that could be a big red flag. I mean, I've worked in family business most of my life, and having one person have the 100% is fine when it's the father or the grandfather, and and eventually they might turn it over to you if you work hard enough for them to believe in it, to believe in what you're doing. But yeah, that doesn't sit right, and I tend to think the Sharks are probably going to feel the same way.
Give an offer.
Mike, let me tell you, the valuation's insane. The company's not even worth $375,000 yet. You asked for too much money. I'm out.
We appreciate it, Mr. Wonderful. Thank you for your time.
I'm really attracted to this because my daughter is 5 years old. They asked all the kids in school, what do you want to be? And two of the kids said, I want to be a venture capitalist when I get older. My daughter said, I want to pick up trash. Interesting. Nothing against the hard-working men and women that clean up our cities. And I asked her, why do you want to pick up trash? And then she looked at me at 5 years old with those big, beautiful eyes and said, because I want to clean up the world, Daddy.
Oh.
Right? And so this is something I want to do. It's something that our kids need to understand. But the number is so much to wrap our heads around, and I would be making an uneducated decision and paying the most I could for it.
So we're
I
trying
have to pass.
With
I'm
that
out.
375. We appreciate your time, Damon.
I thought he was gonna go in this his daughter. My daughter's 5 years old too. Was gonna go in the path of, I want to pick up trash because there's always gonna be trash, and you're never gonna be out of business if you're in the trash business. So no, that's awesome. I love that. My daughter, if you haven't watched the video what I did with her here on this channel, I was with Surprise Cake. Ava is her name, and she wants to be a builder. when scientist when she gets older. So looking forward to the future.
It's really interesting. You do think that there's a gap in the market, don't you?
We do. I mean, we see ourselves becoming the face of the circular economy.
That wasn't an opportunity for a speech. It was just a statement. What I'm looking at now is there actually a market in that gap? Because I think what your mission and what you're trying to stand for is really great. How do you make this into a business?
Isn't there something bigger that you could be doing that would be helping the oceans in an even bigger way?
You don't like this business at all?
No. We'd love to get there, and I think we're on the track to do that.
Let me ask the question a different way. Can you sell something that everybody can afford to buy so everybody can participate? A t-shirt that everybody can say, hey, I'm supporting conservation and reclamation of oysters and making the oceans better. There's got to be a path to scale.
Yes, and there is. So right now, what we've been talking to you guys about is our lamb's wool blend, but something that we're working on is a cotton and recycled material blend.
It's much more versatile than our wool blend, which is made to keep you warm.
Just tell me, can you sell a t-shirt for $29.95, make 60+% margins, and accomplish the same thing, and sell 5 million of them?
We think we can sell 5 million of these sweaters.
I'm out.
Oh, God. That's a lot. Mike, Lauren, I would love to have both of you, one or both of you here on the show for an interview. I'd love to talk about it, talk about your Shark Tank experience. So, reach out in the comments below. But I just don't. I don't know. 5 million sweaters at $128 to $150 is a tall order. When you're trying to talk, I mean, hey, look, you gotta be confident, right? And I appreciate the confidence, but it's a lot.
We do appreciate your time,
You know
Mark.
what's a bummer? Mark's idea is a really great one because people care. His daughter cares. We all care, right? And we want to be able to do things and get behind things. But to Mark's point, in an affordable, inexpensive way, a t-shirt. And when he said, how about doing that? Can you tell me doing that? And if you had said to him, yes, I would have said, Mark, I want to join you. But you didn't.
Look at Michael.
Oh, he's ready to let's double back. Yes, that's one of those things where it's like you can't necessarily plan for everything that it could happen when you get into the tank, but it's, I would hope that, maybe that would have, in my mind, that would have came up in the conversation earlier. It's like, all right, we have the high end. The high end can pay for, getting the materials together for the low end. Look, we see it, like one of the best examples is Tesla, right? They didn't start with their Model 3, the low end car that they make, or the quote unquote low end car. They started with the high end, 1-to-1 model where they're like, we build a car, we sell a car. We're going to the car show. Guess what? These cars are here for sale right now. You want to buy a car? You can buy it. And I remember being at the car show in Philly in 2003, 2004, 2005. Or 6, I guess, and then being like, yeah, you could buy this car right here, right now if you want it, because there ain't that many of those Tesla Roadsters around, and they use that money to bankroll the next level, and work their way down. It's it would be nice to see if they had something to that effect. But with that said, look, I firmly believe that if they have their target market worked out, and if you need help with your target market, go to superjoepardo.com/avatar, AVATAR, and get yourself my free workbook with 64 questions to help you identify your ideal customer or client. And you work that out and you say, okay, there is, if 50 million people on the planet that would buy this $128 sweater that care about, or there's 50 million people, and of those 50 million, we could get, 5 million of them to pay for this sweater, and because they care about the environment and want a high quality product, then all of a sudden you got yourself, a path to, you got a pretty good path there.
It was the moment to jump in and say, yeah, you know what? It's a good idea. We'll figure it out.
We'll make anything out of oyster shells.
I'm so sorry, but I'm out.
Well, we appreciate
Thank
it,
you for
Lori.
your time, Lori.
Look, I think you've come with a great
nobody asked what they're going to use the money
product,
for.
a really, really good idea. There's two things I don't like about it. One is clearly the valuation, and the second thing, interestingly, is you haven't given any share to your sister, who I think is just about as passionate in this business as you are. So can you answer why that hasn't happened?
Honestly, Peter, we haven't even thought about it yet. Lauren's put in the time.
Did you think
You might want to ask Lauren that, yeah.
Lauren?
Yeah, right. Maybe you haven't, Mike. You know, and I'm saying this with love. Maybe you haven't thought about it, but I'm sure Lauren has. Maybe thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, Lauren's put in the time.
Did you think
Good. Well, she was doing the poker face until
Ask
now.
Lauren that, yeah.
Lauren, would you take it if he offered you equity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael, are you going to offer her some equity?
Yes.
How much is she going to get? I'd like to see Michael's commitment. How much would you give her now?
Lauren, what do you want?
I don't know that this has ever happened in the tank, by the way.
10%.
That's it?
Done.
All right, we got a deal finally.
Great. You've just done a deal in the Shark Tank. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You might do another one because I'm going to make you an offer.
Awesome.
Let's hear it.
I am able to help you sell this on a global basis in multiple markets. I've got a business, I'm a major shareholder, it's called Localized. We take even American brands and we put them into global markets. I'm going to offer you all of the money, that's $375,000,
30%.
but I want 45%.
45%. Ding, ding.
The British are coming!
Yeah. No. That they are.
I think that's a hell of an offer because you don't have anything yet. You got oysters, you got some water bottles, you got nothing in sales. I mean,
You got a new partner.
You did that deal, you lost 50.
I won't say nothing in sales. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing in sales, but you know, that's not a terrible out of the gate start for a business that had pivoted through the pandemic. A lot of businesses would love to be there, but with the amount of time and research and care that probably has gone into being able to make, you know, anything out of oyster shells, I tend to think that it wasn't free to be able to go and do any of that.
5% in 1 minute.
You thinking?
Your dream for having this business successful becomes reality the minute you say yes.
Maybe counter back at 40, 35, but I can't imagine that Peter's going to bite at that.
Peter, we'd love to have you join the family.
Great.
We appreciate the offer, but
Was that a deal?
Yeah. Was that a deal? We got a deal? Is that how that's gonna work? I love Peter's sharpness there to just be like, yeah, like good, let's go. Let's run and go. So he seems very serious about this.
Would you consider 25%?
To Kevin's point, this business today is worth maybe $300,000 to $500,000. That's the reality. And my business, we're the only company in the world, this is a big statement, but it's true, the only company in the world that could take a global brand and open them up in a localized market like Japan, Korea, and Asia in 30 days or less. That makes a very, very unique difference, and that's what I bring to the party.
That is a powerful difference to be able to do that for any brand, to just bring it in, because this stuff, like I always remember the story of, I think it's Starbucks into Australia, and how, you know, Australia, I think it was Australia, that they're just like, yeah, no, we're cool. We don't really, we're not digging the Starbucks thing. We want to keep our local shops, and has pushed Starbucks out of that country, I think almost completely, if not all the way.
There's no.
No, because I just feel that there's going to be a lot of work here. I'm not going to budge on that. It's my final offer, so.
Well,
Tough.
Lauren's made the decision on this one.
Peter, we really appreciate your offer, but it's more than we're willing to give up right now.
Good for you guys. Good for you guys.
Man,
Oh,
good
I'm
job.
understanding.
I
No,
mean,
that's smart as hell.
We really appreciate everyone's advice and time today.
Good luck.
Well,
We appreciate
listen,
your
Peter just
feedback.
got
It
you
is
10%
early
of the
on.
company.
That's true.
Right?
We're walking away as winners.
Done a deal. Well done.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Congrats.
everyone.
Good
We
luck,
appreciate
guys.
your time.
Congrats, guys. Good luck.
Wow.
we're gonna check out their site here in a second.
One deal done.
45% was way too high. I did give up 10% today to a great partner who's been there since the beginning, but we're still keeping it in the family.
Yeah, I mean that would be tough. So let's check out their website and social media. So Outfitting Everyday Adventures. They show the oysters. Tell people about the fact that it's made from soft blend recycled oyster shells, recycled water bottles, and natural lamb's wool. I mean, they look great. They have their new arrivals. The Seawell is $128 to $158. They have these caps here. So this is a $48 Seawell cap. So I guess the Seawell trademark is anything that is made out of recycled materials, because this actually has the oyster shells, the recycled water bottles, and natural lamb's wool for $48. Is there any reviews of this one? Oh, okay, yeah. There's 3 reviews. 5 stars, super soft, and this goes back 2017. So actually, they've been making this for a while there. But they had the wallet here, which I would think that it would make sense to have this as the Seawell's wallet, but apparently it is crafted from soft leather and dry waxed canvas, and not. I mean, I like the design, but I would like to see maybe one that they have that is made from the recycled materials. On Twitter, it looks like they got some shout outs from the Sharks, and they got their cousins over there tweeting as well. Which is awesome, but it doesn't look like they do too much on Twitter. 56 followers total. On Facebook, they have 2,500 people following the page, and it looks like they get some good engagement out of each post that they're making, and it looks like they're pretty consistent with that posting, at least leading up to Shark Tank. Let's go back a little bit further. October 3rd, October 2nd, October 1st. Yeah, so they're pretty consistent, and they consistently get engagement. I mean, I love seeing faces. I think it helps people identify what they're looking at and see envisioning themselves, and they seem to be doing a great job there. But I bet you, Instagram is the winner. 18,000 followers here, and that's awesome. And they have quite a bit of engagement. Love to see the faces. I think it looks great. I mean, look, is it pricey? Yeah, it's a pricey sweater, but sweaters, I mean, really good sweaters, that's I would think that's generally around the price that they would cost if you go to like a higher end store to get one. So they also have Pinterest, but they haven't done anything in there in a year. It seems like businesses most businesses seem to have trouble figuring out how to make Pinterest like work for them, which is not surprising. But you, the viewer, seem to not have a problem learning how to write comments like Bonnie here. I love her, perfect spokesperson, and incredibly intelligent. Go girl, I love it. I appreciate you watching the video, and I will see you in one of these.